And I'm so glad it's not raining because it could have gone the other way. I'm Karina Ricks. I'm the director of the city's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. This has been a long time coming, and we're really, really excited to have you here to help us launch two truly groundbreaking initiatives. A mobility as a service arrangement that we call Move PGH, and a concept for universal basic mobility that combination of services makes possible. So before we get into this, I need to thank a few people who really, put in hard work, made this possible, starting with Tosh Chambers, who's a policy analyst in the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. He's been working just tremendously hard on this. The list of partners is long, and so is the cast of speakers behind me, so we're not going to go through all of them. But you'll know them when you see them. And just know that there's an army of staff members behind these individuals who really made this kind of partnership possible. So if you'll indulge me just for a minute, I want to talk a little bit about sort of the origin story of this initiative and why this kind of arrangement came to pass. So before I came to Pittsburgh, I was a consultant working across the country with different communities, and I was working in Columbus, Ohio, and we were doing a transportation master plan for Columbus, Ohio, and we were going around to various places in the city asking people, what's the thing that's going to make the biggest difference for transportation in your city, in this city? And we went downtown to the Central Business District, and they were like, a subway. We have to have a subway in Columbus. Every big city has a subway. We need to have a subway. That would make the biggest difference for us. And then we went up to the University District, and we asked some of the smart students studying under trees, what would make the biggest difference for you? They said high-speed rail to Chicago. We have to be able to get out of this city. We're not connected to other places. We need high-speed rail to Chicago. And then we went up to a bus stop on the outer edge of town, and we chatted up a gentleman that was there waiting with his bicycle. We said, what's the thing that would make the biggest difference for you? And he said, bigger bike racks on the buses. I'm like, what? That's not a big idea. Like, what do you mean bigger bike racks on the buses? He said, well, you see, I'm a landscaper, and I don't make that much money. So I take my bike here, and I wait for the bus to come, and I put my bike on the bus, and I take it downtown, and then I ride my bike the other 2 miles to get to his landscaping job, out on the other side of town. But if the bike racks are full, I have to make a decision. I either have to leave my bike here and go transfer at a bus downtown and take that out to my landscaping job, or I have to wait here for the next bus. But in either event, I'm 20 minutes late, and my boss really likes me, and he said he'd give me a job, he'd give me a raise, or he'd give me a promotion, or make me a crew leader. But every time I'm late, it sort of sends me to the back of the line, and I have to start over again. So if we could just have bigger bike racks on buses, that would make a big difference to me being able to get a better job, earn more money, maybe start my own landscaping business, and go on from there. And I thought, well, I don't know if the buses are going to work to have, 6 racks out in front of them. That might be a little awkward to do. But what if there was a bike waiting for him at the other end of that route? What if he had more resiliency in the system so that, when that happens, when that instance happens, that we can accommodate that he has a plan B, he has a plan C that lets him get to work on time, lets him get that raise, lets him move on to that next step in his progression. And so that's really what Move PGH is all about. It's providing that resiliency. It's adding onto the fundamental system of transit that we have, and making sure that there's more options on the other end of that, so that we can fulfill our mission of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure, which is to provide the physical mobility necessary for the economic mobility of the people of our city. So this has been a long time coming. We started this 2 years ago. It's taken a lot of patient partners. It's taken unbelievably creative elected officials to get us to this point. And so I really want to thank all of these individuals that are behind me, innumerable people that are out there, and really the residents, the citizens of the city who have given us so much input and so many comments about how we build a system that works for us. This is a pilot, it's a demonstration, it's a test. We'll iterate as we go, but we really have a lot of belief that this is going to be transformative for our city and a model for the nation. So with that, I want to introduce Senator Jay Costa, without whom we would not be here and could not be launching this today. I also want to recognize Deputy Secretary Jenny Granger, who's here from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, also an amazing partner in helping us to be creative and to really solve these transportation needs. So Senator Costa.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Corinne, and thank all of you for being here, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be part of today's program and this wonderful announcement. We had the opportunity to participate in the process to be able to get us to the point where we will have our e-scooters as part of who we are and what we do here in our city of Pittsburgh. And I want to applaud Mayor Peduto and the city of Pittsburgh and their folks in terms of the manner in which they conducted this process to get to where we are today, taking input, outreach that was done to be able to make certain that what we're talking about and what we're doing and what we implemented this last couple of weeks in legislation is going to be something that the city of Pittsburgh and the people who reside here want to be part of their mobility scheme. So I'm very happy to have been part of that. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my colleague in the Senate, Senator Wayne Langerholt, who was the chairperson of the Transportation Committee, who, in a bipartisan way, we reached out to one another and were able to work to be able to get this legislation through, not through the normal necessary channels of passing legislation through the normal part, but working through the budgetary process to include it to make certain that we're able to be here today to have this program in place. What I like to tell people is that this is a process in terms of the work we've done. It relates to the idea that this is something that is a pilot program for the city of Pittsburgh, nowhere else in the Commonwealth, working closely with the city of Pittsburgh and some oversight with PennDOT, but what I'll call the safety mechanisms and procedures that are in place with respect to ensure that this is something that we look at, we monitor, and make certain that it's adapted to the city in a way that is appropriate for the people of Pittsburgh and allow us the opportunity to build on that and grow on that if that becomes the case. There are a number of safety precautions and provisions in the legislation, including insurance, speed limits, and the like, but there's also the opportunity for the city to be able to work closely with their partners in Pittsburgh and also with PennDOT to be able to ensure that other mechanisms and other safety measures need to be part of that conversation. So we're pleased to have been part of that conversation as we went forward and look forward to the actual implementation of e-scooters in Pittsburgh, and want to thank everyone who's been involved. Thank you, Corinne.
So we're going to just have a couple of groups come up to talk with you, starting with our community partners. So this is really meant to be Move PGH and the Universal Basic Mobility are meant to be things that really serve communities of need, communities that are maybe just a little bit beyond the reach of high-frequency transit. We're just meeting that last mile gap would be absolutely transformative to them. So I want to begin with a community where this is going to begin with. We'll build out an incremental system from there, but we're going to begin in the community of Manchester, which is a community that has great leadership in it, and one where we think that we can really make a difference for some of the residents of need in that community. So, LaShawn Burton-Falk, I'm going to let you speak.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is LaShawn Burton-Falk, and I am the Executive Director of Manchester Citizens Corporation, the CDC that guides development in the community. And I want to be very clear today, so I have a few things written down to make sure you're leaving with this thought in mind, that universal basic mobility is a human right. Easy access to affordable, reliable, convenient transportation choices impacts a person's life more than nearly anything else. Food, economic and housing security, education, healthcare, worship, transportation matters more because without it, you can't have the stable base that the others provide. In fact, many low-income folks must pay more for transportation than they do for housing. Because of this, we're grateful that Manchester was chosen as a pilot community. Manchester is growing. Great things are happening, but they also threaten to displace our most at-risk neighbors. We need more choices so that those who have stayed with us through the hard times can also enjoy the times ahead. We love our transportation service, but we still have big gaps, and we need solutions now that can help our neighbors stay today, not years or decades in the future. This UBM demonstration gives us a chance to fill those gaps so that we can access what we need and what we deserve. Low, moderate income communities of color deserve access to these new technologies at least as much as any other community. We are excited for what this pilot could mean, and we thank Mayor William Peduto, Director Ricks, the Mobility Collaborative, Innovate Pittsburgh, RK Mellon, and SPIN for this incredible opportunity to bring mobility equity to the most economically fragile in Manchester. Thank you. So next we'll have Sean Luther from Innovate Pittsburgh.
Thank you, LaShawn. Good morning, everyone. First, I want to +1 everything that LaShawn said about what mobility means for the residents of the city of Pittsburgh, especially low-income and marginalized communities. At Innovate PGH, we're a believer that access to jobs, access to everyday services is a basic human right, and the Move PGH and the Universal Basic Mobility Pilot is going to be a strong first step in making that a reality. I'm going to go off script just for a second. I also want to thank our hosts. If you have not been in this space before, it's the work of the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, and Jeremy Waldrop and his team are here. So thank you all for your continued leadership in a resurgent downtown. I think the theme this morning is going to be about origin stories. And 2 years ago, Director Ricks and Mayor Peduto approached Innovate PGH to form a public-private partnership to make Move PGH a reality. And my board of directors signed on to that because we believe strongly in Director Ricks's vision that this is the first step and the first day of this project, not the ultimate culmination of what this is going to look like. Today isn't about any one provider. It's not just about scooters. It's not just about mopeds or e-bikes or bike share. It's about building a system of private and public providers that works for Pittsburgh and achieves the mayor's vision for how mobility can be a true equity tool for all Pittsburghers. So with that, you can't have a public-private partnership without the private side. And the private side of Move PGH is powered by our local foundation community, in particular the RK Mellon Foundation, as well as national foundation dollars with the New Mobility Alliance, and NUMO, and Shafak is here. So thank you to NUMO and to RK Mellon for making this a reality. Thank you to all the providers for getting us to this first step. And we're excited and proud to be a part of the collaborative moving forward. So now we're going to turn it over back to Director Ricks, and we'll hear from the providers themselves. Thank you all very much.
So a little over 2 years ago, we issued an RFP in which we said, dear industry, we don't know how to put together this integrated system. We need you to self-organize and come to us with a package of diverse services, preferably with a package of diverse providers as well, so that we can figure out that it's not just everybody under one Uber umbrella, but how really different kinds of companies can plug into a system. And so we had about 7 different respondents to that RFP, but the one that really stood out above and beyond the others was one organized by SPIN, who really took it to heart to say, it can't just be all about us. This doesn't work just with e-scooters. This works when you have scooters, you have a car every once in a while when you need it. You have bicycles, that we really are working to strengthen the transit system and build beyond that so that we're having a more expansive system. So we're going to hear from these different providers that both we asked to be a part of it and those that they organized to bring together into a platform that we think really works. So we're going to go rapid fire through some of the providers, but I want to start with Ben Baer, who's the CEO of SPIN. Ben?
Thank you, Director Ricks, for your vision and your patience driving this process through. As a Pittsburgh native and a graduate of Alderdice and the current CEO of Spin, it's incredible to be here in my hometown and launch Move 412 along with the Universal Basic Mobility Pilot. And I think patience is really a key word. When Director Ricks put out that proposal over 2 years ago now, it brought together a lot of private companies, Waze, Zipcar, Transit App, SwiftMile, all of our partners that don't normally work together very quickly. And then to get this across the line, it brought together Republicans and Democrats in Harrisburg, Senator Costa, Senator Langerhoek. It took the mayor and dozens of organizations all working together for 2 years with the patience because they knew the eventual result would be worth it. And for Pittsburgh zero-car households, they can only access about 40% of the region's jobs, and the average commute is 90 minutes. And so what this really does, and why it's still the most innovative program in the country, even 2 years after the proposal, is that it makes it just as easy to get around without a car as it is with a car. And it makes all those options available seamlessly online through the transit app and offline at the mobility hubs. And the Universal Basic Mobility Pilot is a perfect complement to it because, like others have said, transportation and access to reliable transportation needs to be a right and not a privilege. And this program will help us understand that, and then if it works, scale it up to more cities. So couldn't be more excited to finish this off and get this live, and it's only the beginning, and we can't wait to keep iterating and making the service better for all Pittsburghers. As one of them, I can't wait to try it, and I hope you all do as well. So thank you. And then next, I'm going to bring up David White, who runs the Healthy Ride bike share system.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the PDP, to the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure. Thank you to the Mayor's Office, the entire team that's made this happen. This is really, truly a moment to celebrate, to feel a sense of accomplishment for what we've done to get to this point. But I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to put out a challenge to the folks that are on the stage here with me and to the partners that may not be with us today. And to get us mentally into that challenge, I'm just going to ask you to think about the last time that you took a car trip outside the city. We have this network in the Commonwealth of well-designed, well-planned out, integrated paths and roads and bridges to get us wherever we want to go. In our interstate highway system, there's mile markers on every road that tell you how far you are from the state border, and the exits on that road are coordinated with the mile markers so that in your travels, if you know you're going to exit 40 and you're at mile marker 20, you know you have 20 miles left to go. It's really well thought out. It's deliberate. It's planned, and it makes sense to people that really don't even understand it that well. For the first time being on that road, you kind of know what to do. When you get into Pittsburgh, moving around the city, you need to park that vehicle. All of the parking signs from our Pittsburgh Parking Authority look the exact same. It's pretty easy to figure out where to put your car. You can go in, you can pay cash, you can use your credit card. It all kind of has the same feel. You go through the ticket, you park the car, you come back out, you need to pay before you get there. It all works really well because it's been coordinated over decades to make that experience feel pretty easy. We're at a point now where I want to do that, and everyone on this stage wants to do that for biking and walking and scootering and every other thing that doesn't require a car. And we need to work together to do that. We have to combine forces so that that experience feels just as easy. When you go to a mobility hub, the signage and the hardware looks like you want to be able to approach it. It feels like something that anyone could try on their first time, and if you go to that city or that station or that mobility hub, the software that you use is going to work intuitively and flawlessly, no matter what kind of background you're coming from. You won't need this deep understanding of how to pay for it. You can use cash, you can use a credit card. That's the vision that I have, so that our walking and biking experience is just as easy as driving a car. Let's get there. We're going to get there together, but we have to work on it. It has to be something that's deliberate and planned and thought out, and this is the opportunity to do that. So I'm excited. I hope we can all work toward this vision together. At Healthy Ride, we're looking at some tremendous changes over the next 12 months. We're going to be relaunching an entirely new bike share system in April of 2022, We'll have a new brand. So the Healthy Ride brand is going to sunset, and we'll have an entirely new product. That entire process is being formed and driven by our community coalition. Members of my staff have been working for the past 6 months and will be continuing to work for the next 8 months with our community partners who are making those decisions about what the future of getting around in the city of Pittsburgh on a bicycle looks like. So join us in that community coalition. Join us in this vision as we try to make it much easier to get around in our city, and let's get there together. Thanks very much.
Thank you, David. Very compelling charge. My name is Jeffrey Devlin. I work at the Port Authority as the Chief Information Officer. Many of you may know Catherine Kellerman. I'm representing her today. If you know her, she knows she's really, really disappointed that she couldn't be here. This is a great event. I want to ditto all the thanks and kudos to everybody. It's so fabulous and exciting to be in an area with so many transit activists, advocates, friends, etc. So at the Port Authority, we're always looking at how we can use technology to reduce some of that friction and some of those inefficiencies for our customers. Whether it's a lack of power on your phone or need for internet access that we solve through USB ports or free Wi-Fi on our buses, we're always looking for those. Some of those solutions are quick, some of them take years. And I think what we're talking about today is one of those that takes a couple of years into action. Well, when I joined the agency a few years ago, one of the charges was, how can we make fare easier? We need a mobile ticketing solution. So we're really excited that we've been able to work through that over the past few years, and we're getting really close to activating that. We're using transit as one of our working agents to help resell those tickets, and we're looking forward to launching the Ready to Ride on our buses very soon, and then a little bit down the rails, as it were, we'll be launching on our rail side servers also. But one of the key aspects for us was not just to put out a mobile ticketing service for those who have phones and are banked, but also to make sure the equity challenges are solved. So part of this project is, how can we do a cash to fare component so the folks who don't have a phone are able to use our services. Folks that aren't banked are able to use these services. So we invite you to watch for some of those as we finalize those projects and get those rolled out coming down the road. So these are tech solutions at the agency that we're very excited to work with this project and others so that our customers are able to use all of the services around the city and live in this digital space somewhat car-free. So when it comes to mobility access, as we know, the more choices that our customers have, the better it is for all of us. The Port Authority is very excited and proud to be a big part of this equation. So I want to thank everyone for inviting us here again today. And I'm now going to invite my friend Katie from Transit. And I think Katie said this is her first trip out of the road, right?
Yeah.
Out of the lockdown, as it were. So Katie.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Yes, this is my first work trip since COVID, so very excited to be here. Thank you so much to the mayor, to Director Ricks, to all of the partners today that got us here. My name is Katie Monroe. I'm on the partnerships team at the Transit app. We've been a member of Move PGH since the beginning, a couple years ago, and we're so excited to be the technology platform bringing together all of these modes of transportation into a single app experience. Our mission is to help people get from A to B without their own car, and to make it easy, like David was talking about. Some of you may already be Transit app users. We've been in Pittsburgh since 2013, and every month about 40,000 Pittsburghers use our app to help them get around the city. We did some surveys in recent months, and we found that of our users in Pittsburgh, 79% of them do not have access to a car. more than 1/3 earn less than $20,000 a year, and more than 50% identify as non-white. So these are important things to keep in mind as we are working on the Universal Basic Mobility and Move PGH in general. The city of Pittsburgh is really on the leading edge of cities taking charge of their mobility future, bringing together these modes and providers, public and private. It's a model. We're so excited to be part of it, and we're so excited to learn through this pilot for other cities to also learn from it. At Transit, we're sort of the in-your-pocket version of these physical mobility hubs that are on the streets of Pittsburgh. With the app, you can plan trips that combine Port Authority Transit, Healthy Ride Bike Share, Spin scooters, and soon more options including Zipcar, Scooby, and others. In addition, as we just heard from Port Authority, we are super excited to soon be launching mobile ticketing in the app for Port Authority buses as well. Just in closing, this model in Pittsburgh is really being looked at by cities across the country, and we're so thrilled to help kick it off today. Thank you. With that, I'm going to pass the mic to Robin Chase, the co-founder of NUMO, New Urban Mobility, and a real thought leader in this space.
I'm so delighted to be here. This is my first trip out of the pandemic. I want to tell you two stories that led to the inception of this project. 5 years ago, I was invited to give a talk at CMU about the future of transportation. And that's when I first met the mayor and learned of his commitment to addressing equity and climate change as priorities for his tenure and opening up the possibility of many future collaborations. Is it raining? Woo. Story number two. I attended a large transportation conference in Chicago, and I was waiting at a breakfast place for Karina to arrive on a early flight from Pittsburgh. Her plane was late, and my breakfast was luckily enormous and took a long time to eat. When she finally arrived, I told her that my current dream was for a city to take advantage of the availability of electric bikes and scooters to complement public transit and car sharing services. And confidently we'd be able to build out an infrastructure and policies that would support safe, easy, and convenient multimodal transportation. I believe that between the private and public sectors, we had everything that was needed to provide quality options for those who don't have a driver's license or a car, or money to operate one. And Karina said, Mayor Peduto is totally up for that. We're all in. This was a memorable sentence. We're all in. I'd like to take credit for the PMC that we're launching and celebrating today. But there's this Thomas Edison quote that I remember from when I founded Zipcar. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. That is so true. Look at the people behind me and throughout this city. It's taken a broad effort with the private sector, local NGOs, and government to make today happen. This collection of actors and stakeholders has had to be tenacious, creative, attentive, and adaptive in order to get to where we are today. I'm cutting out some parts about what NUMO did. Who cares? We really love this project. But the goal is to make a car-independent life a quality and desirable option, not a less than option. Did you know that at any given moment, more than 50% of us can't go by car because we don't have a license or access to a car? You guys are in the rain. Nearly 20% of Black Americans live in households that don't have cars. And it's only true of 5% of white households. Should I just do it? I just want to say that this project is being watched by the world and has to happen everywhere. We have to make it possible for people to get everywhere without a car. PMC gives me optimism. I want to introduce the visionary, dry, fantastic Mayor Peduto.
God bless you guys. 2020's been a rough year for me. Look, thank you. Can we stop the rain, God? Okay, that's what I thought. Basically, here's what I want to say. Number one is thank you. Thank you to all the people that are standing behind me. Thank you to all the people standing in front of me. A special thanks to Councilman Bobby Wilson, who's here with us. Director of Operations Kinsey Casey, and Director Ricks and your teams. Thank you for making this day possible. What are we announcing, right? This is the first of its kind in the United States program that coordinates all of your options of mobility under one platform, whether you have a credit card or you use cash, whether you have a cell phone or you want to be able to use a kiosk, and all it asks you is where do you want to go? And then it gives you all of the options that are available to you to get there. If you think about it this way, this is exactly what the private companies behind us did when they created their apps in order to make profit. What would happen if you created the same model to help people, to be able to get people from one point to another? It is only the second city in the world to be able to offer this service to their people. Helsinki in Finland and Pittsburgh in the United States. And today we are launching this next movement of mobility. Now, that would be great, and that would be a fantastic announcement if it didn't already come with a second, first of its kind initiative, which is a guaranteed basic mobility, meaning that money will not be the issue for 100 families in the city of Pittsburgh. What's the number on low-income families that are... So as we heard, over 20% of families in the city of Pittsburgh don't have a car, but over 65% of low-income families in the city of Pittsburgh don't have a car. So how do we help them? Because we know that mobility is the key indicator for social mobility. If you want to break the cycles of poverty, you do it by allowing people to get to the doctor, to get to their food, to get to a job. And if you create a program that takes away income as an issue and you make it free, you can show how we can break the cycles of poverty by the direct investment into mobility. The people behind me are the CEOs of the cutting-edge companies in mobility on Earth. And they have gathered together for the past 2 years in Pittsburgh to be able to deliver to you the next great step in urban mobility. And Pittsburgh is honored to be the first city in the United States to create this system and the second city in the world to implement it.
I'm Ben Baer, the CEO of Spin. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, went to Alderdice High School.
Awesome. So a Pittsburgh native.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Spin.
So Spin is a mobility company. We're operating in nearly 100 markets across the globe. We've got 1,000 employees, and we offer rentable e-bikes, scooters available at charging stations like we're rolling out here today in Pittsburgh.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. And why do you think this will be especially beneficial to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, this is a first of its kind partnership between public entities, private entities, nonprofits, all working together to bring sustainable, easy to use mobility to users where they are. So both in apps that they can easily use and at offline charging stations and mobility hubs so that all the options are there and it's just as easy to get around without a car as it is with a car.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and thanks so much for being here today.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're here with the CEO of Scooby, correct? Can you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
So I'm Michael Moran. I'm from the Fox Chapel area here in Pittsburgh. So basically, when I was at business school, just kind of saw an opportunity between bikes and car shares, which to my knowledge were really the only ones available at the time. So, wrote the business plan, started the business, and it kind of just blew up into this huge market around the world. So just kind of it's a coincidence that I started, right around the same time all these other big companies were getting into it. So
Definitely, yeah. So why Pittsburgh?
I'm from here. I know the city. I wanted to, start here and then start looking at some other cities, which we're actually going to Austin, Texas in a couple weeks. So we're pretty excited for that. But just something I was familiar with and something I knew that would work here, especially with the geography, topography of this area. Vehicles that go a little bit faster and can go up those hills are obviously a lot more useful in places like this than, places such as Michigan or Florida.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're here with the City of Pittsburgh, and we just wanted to speak with you guys for a second about why you're here today. So first, just give me a brief introduction and where you're from.
Sure. I'm Cassandra Leopold. I'm the principal planner for the City of Pittsburgh, in charge of active transportation. I'm also in charge of the Move PGH campaign with our partners from Healthy Ride and Bike Pittsburgh. So we're here in support of SPIN. We're supporting the Bike Plus Master Plan. Everything that we're working for in the Move Forward campaign allows you to bike and scoot on these critical connections. So we're here today just to support and brave the weather a little bit, but to say that multimodal transportation is for everyone.
Definitely. So why do you think this will specifically be beneficial to Pittsburgh?
I think there are a lot of ways that people want to get to work and school. I think there are ways that if we can provide those final mile initiatives to say, if you need a bike, if you need a scooter, if you want to walk, we're providing those opportunities. I think we've done enough public meetings to say, really, this is a time for us to embrace and invest in those kind of initiatives. A lot of the things that we're doing now have been based in public meetings. So we have neighbor ways that are connecting people from home to school. And I think a lot of the things that we're investing in now are all ages and abilities.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
I'm Erin Potts. I'm the Director of Marketing and Community Outreach at Healthy Ride. We're the bike share program here in Pittsburgh. And
Where are you from originally?
Oh, originally I grew up in Wisconsin, but I've been in Pittsburgh now for a little over 6 years and was here before that. I went to college at Duquesne University.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Healthy Ride and why you think this initiative will be good for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really exciting to see so much growth right now in the transportation sector because we've been here for 6 years now, sharing bikes throughout the city. We've more than doubled the size of our footprint in the last 6 years, and we have these big updates coming in spring of 2022 with e-bikes. We've got a sample here. So yeah, we have a lot of exciting things on the horizon, but just generally, we're always trying to create a more equitable network of transit in this city, and bikes are just a piece of that. So it's really exciting to see these partners getting together and making things better.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and we'll look forward to hearing more about Healthy Ride.
Thank you.